Lenovo's gaming division, Legion, just hired us to completely build, modify, and custom paint both of these vans. I think part of the reason we were chosen is because we're really good on a tight timeline. These both have to be done and in a show in about 26 days. So there's a couple challenges to this project. One of them, no aftermarket parts exist for these vehicles. There's no lowering springs out there, there's no front lip kits, there's no side skirts, there's no body kits, there's no wide body kits. Yet, this is the biggest professional job we have ever taken on. Like, we've worked with brands before, but never at this scale. This is totally different. This is the first time a brand has come to us with well over 100K worth of vehicles. It said design it, build it, make it awesome, and then bring it back to us. Like, they own these cars. I had permission to do that. They came to us because they needed a team that could go from idea, go from a rendering to reality. I mean, that is kind of what we are known for doing. Tight timeline builds, build something amazing. Now, we've got the added challenge of the custom fabrication to make the parts within the tight timeline. But they've seen what we could do at SEMA. They've seen how far we can transform a vehicle in 30 days. And they basically asked us if we could just, you know, kind of bump up our time schedule a little bit and have these ready by September. And here's the rendering. These aren't just stock vans with Lenovo logos on the sides. They need custom wide bodies, they need front lips, they need side skirts, they need rear diffusers, custom paint, custom wheels, a completely different look from the original van. And because nobody makes those parts yet, or probably will ever for these vans, we're gonna have to get really creative. That's what we're gonna be doing in today's episode. We're gonna be focusing on one van at a time, and then trying to rapidly play catch up as soon as we catch a break in the timeline with the other van. And that van is gonna be that van right there. And you guys haven't seen our new old shop in 5 years. So let's get the van in the shop. I'm so excited to see if our wide body fender flares are gonna work on these things and how much spacing we can catch. And also, what does it mean to wide body a van that has a sliding door that needs to slide over a wide body? To the shop. Now that we talked about how these vans are gonna look, we should probably talk about what they're gonna do. When these vans are done, they're gonna travel all across the country to different shows, different things like F1, like BlizzCon, like PAX, all with the goal of giving people the opportunity to play some games and check out the latest and greatest in gaming hardware. So each van is gonna have to become its own mobile gaming experience, and this is gaming on the outsides of the van, not the insides of the van. And it leaves one really big, obvious issue, which is, where does all the power come from? If this thing rolls up into a parking lot and we've got 4, 5, 8, 9 people gaming, how are we gonna power all that? I think that brings us perfectly into today's sponsor, Anker SOLIX. This right here is the Anker SOLIX F3800 Plus portable power station. This F3800 Plus has 3,840 watt hours of capacity, and it can produce a whopping 6,000 watts of output. That's huge. And it has both 120 and 240 from a single unit that you can use at the same time. So what that means for these vans is we can use this one system to power all of the electronics at once. We don't have to rely on a noisy generator. We can everything at the same time can go off of one of these. I think it's time for a demonstration. So to best emulate the van type of setup, we've got the Anker SOLIX running, you know, a mini fridge. That might be something that we take along on the journey. And then that's running an extension cord over to Kyle, who is gaming on a laptop right now, and on the TV displaying the game as well. And all that running off the SOLIX is using 198 watts of output. And even with all those things running at the same time, it's still got plenty of power to run something way more demanding. It can run my welder too. That's the advantage of the 6,000 watt output. It allows it to power multiple, even large devices at the same time. The system can also be expanded with the Anker SOLIX BP3800 expansion batteries. If you need more runtime, more battery capacity can be added without replacing the entire system. This thing supports expansion up to 26.9 kilowatt hours of capacity. The system can also be not only monitored, but operated using the Anker app. So this tells me a lot of stuff. Things like my expected remaining usage time with these, you know, current things plugged in. It's telling me how much power it's pushing out right now. I could do things like hit this button and shut it off. So fridge just went off, and I could turn on this blue light. I like it. This F3800 Plus can be recharged by doing any compatible solar panels. You do a compatible generator or just your standard AC house plug. It supports up to 3,200 watts of solar panel input. So that makes it a really good candidate for off-grid living. And like I said, a compatible generator can always be plugged in when extra power is needed. And this has 6,000 watts of bypass power. And that means that, say, during the day, you could run a generator, bypass up to 6,000 watts straight through this device here, and that would basically run your appliances off the generator. And then at night, when you wouldn't want to listen to like a noisy generator, you could shut that off and go straight back to using your battery. The F3800 Plus is very, very unique because it doesn't only have 120 outlets on the side, it also has 240. That's huge. What I'm going to demo for you right now is we have a 240 volt air compressor. It used to be a total pain because what if we had to run the air compressor and the welder and we only have one 240 outlet? Well, not anymore because we got the Anker SOLIX. All right, plug it in, power it on. Hear the click. Go ahead, Kyle. Look at that. I'm joining Anker SOLIX FanFest, so check out the deals on the site using the link in the description. There are special FanFest offers for the F3800 Plus as well as its bundles. Big thanks again for Anker SOLIX for sponsoring today's episode. Anker SOLIX, power that lasts. Now that's the game plan for power. I do want to address the change in location. We're back at the old shop and it feels amazing. Now it is a little unfortunate that we're coming back with the biggest vehicle that we've ever worked on in the shop ever. So it's, you know, we're going from a massive 10,000 square foot warehouse to our small little shop. And this is gonna make it look even smaller, but we're gonna do our best. And I can't tell you how happy I am to be in my own space again. To be saving the amount of money that we're saving by not being at that other space gives us the freedom to put cameras and tripods mid-shot. It gives us a lot of freedom, and it gives me the potential freedom. I will word it as eloquently as I can that, you know, my medicine that I'm on right now that is making my cancer be like no problem is not meant to last forever. For most people, unfortunately, it doesn't, and I'm not planning on being the one that squeaks by. So I do expect that I will have a lot more fights with cancer. Hopefully not super soon, but the medicine's supposed to last a year, and I'm on a year and a couple months. But anyways, if I do have to take out some time to fight some more cancer and kick its ass, it's nice to not have a big financial burden. It's nice to be in my own spot that I've been paying for all these years. And this is my house. Well, the house is over there, but this is my garage to my house that I own, and we're all good. There's a lot of interior decorating, like, you know, that I cannot wait to do. But that will wait for another time because right now we gotta kick some ass on this build. So let's jump into this. It is very hard to film a giant black door. All right, here's what I'm gonna show you guys. This build, rendering, notice wide body. Got a wide body kit on there. The brand would like this wide body. I would too. It will be awesome. So there's just enough room for a wide body fender flare to attach to the body here before the door starts. So we're not half on the door, half on the vehicle. So just enough room to come over here and over and back down. But this is a fancy van and it has options like this. Yeah. So, hang on, maybe I could go back. So fancy. So if I'm right here and I'm the body kit, I get crunched right there. I'm crunched. And that's game over. I don't know how much, yeah, the force feedback on that to make it stop is not pretty. So usually when people wide body a van, they disable the sliding doors. That is an option that I talked with the brand about, and I personally didn't want it to look like we were half-assing this. We're whole-assing this, even though we gotta work fast. So I said, I think what we could do is I think we can hollow out the doors to give enough room to clear a 4-inch wide body kit. We'll hollow out the door so it'll look the same from the outside, but on the inside where there's a door card and there's a bunch of metal and stuff, like what if that was all gone? Could we do that? And that's what I would like to find out. If we can accomplish that, it'll be great. Because even if you take all the electronics out of the door, meaning you could disable the motor or you can simply hit a button in the dash and the key fob, automatic open, close, it no longer works. But it doesn't stop somebody, here, let me do it. Okay, door's shut off. It doesn't stop somebody from grabbing the door, opening it by hand, and yanking it open. And, you know, that could happen because these vans are gonna be traveling around to a bunch of different shows, around a bunch of different people. And I have no idea what type of genius stuff I was saying before the robot interrupted me, but yeah, hollowing out the door I think is the best if we can do it. I do not want to start cutting up their inside of their doors if it's not going to get us to space, because if there's something big inside the door, yeah, we won't be able to do it. So to figure that out, we got to take a door off. We have no idea how to do that because this is a brand new vehicle. There's no how-tos. Chris Fix has not made a single video on this car. So we're going to learn right now. We're going to take the side door off and we're going to do some exploring. By the way, the brand picked this vehicle because it is a electric van, but damn, ugly. This is the ugliest color interior, and then what are they matching it with this color of blue? I'm not exactly an aesthetics guy, but ugly. All right, so we learned something very interesting. This is a track that just like kind of slots in and rolls around. It's not, you don't have to bolt it in and bolt it out, it'll just come out. Same with this guy. So I just like loosened a bolt and then it was like whoopsie daisies, half the door started falling off. Actually the whole door, oh god, oh god. Okay, thank god I got that right. Whole door started falling off. The back bolts basically run the whole show. Now we got to figure out this wiring harness. Kyle is going to work on that. I'm hoping it disconnects from the vehicle at that door spot, so he's going to work on that while I work on popping the panels here. I think if I can leave these uppers and take just the lower section off, that'll be great. All right guys, well we're in it now. This is the door. We've got the quick disconnect. If anybody's working on one of these legitimately at home, quick disconnects right there. So we've looked at what would need to be cut out to make the door clear, and it's all of this raised up stuff coming all the way back to about halfway through here. So that would mean a deletion of this speaker. That should be no problem. But this is the window regulator. I even unbolted this so I could double check, you know, underneath here. There's a base box for the speaker. But this is the window regulator for this window right here. This window needs to stay functioning. If you look at the rendering, we have a TV right around here. And the idea is that window opens up to let us sneak cables out through the inside of the van. The power cables, all that good stuff to go to the back of the TV. So my thought is if we can tease the wire harness back this way more into this zone. This seems to be some sort of a rigid metal, and it's really close to the diameter of brake lines that we use. So we have a tool that will bend this and should be able to bend it without kinking. My thought is if we put a 90-degree bend here, we can send this guy up here to live permanently. Everything above right here is totally safe from hitting our wide body. I checked with the brand just one more time to double triple check, let them know what was on the stakes, what's on the table. We might cut up a door and destroy a window. And they said, this is exciting. Let's see what happens. So I love the response. I love the enthusiasm. And this is what we do here at BS for Build. We're gonna learn some new things right now. So we're gonna relocate the window motor. We're gonna send it up there. We're gonna cut this door in half. We're gonna reinstall the door. And then it's gonna work great. It's gonna be awesome. All right, so we have our door, and it's that button. It functions. Ta-da! Now, I'm gonna go ahead and jump inside. Bravely, daringly, shut the door. Actually, open the wrong door. Shut this door. So here goes this door in the guts. Nice and shut. Now, let's see if the window will work for me. Here's the switch. We've relocated it. Not a thing. Let me try to turn the car on. Okay, here we go. All right. So our modified window location is working just fine. AC feels so good in here. I wish I could work from inside the van. Nice. And then we'll hit this button up here. There we go. And we're out. Now, gotta see if that gap is big enough for a wide body kit. We have 4-inch wide fender flares, and that is hopefully now a 4-inch wide gap. I know that's very, very hard to see, but what we're gonna have to do is, geez, that looks scary. We're gonna have to test. Okay, sorry, this is gonna be better to explain not looking at a black void. This is our fender flare. This is a 4-inch fender flare from Clinched. Clinched makes body kits, they make fender flares. They started in the universal fender flare business, and we worked with them before on our mid-engine Mustang that ended up being this. Before it was that, we ran some of these babies on there. So we had some leftovers. They were very nice to send us a bunch of different things for us to try, and we had some leftovers. And well, spoiler alert, Kyle and I did test fit one of these. This is a 4-inch Euro style, they call it Euro look fender flare. It looked good. It looked very good, and it fit basically perfectly. So I was sold. We had 4 of these. I ordered 4 more for the other van, and now you know, our job is to make them fit. So what we're gonna have to do is put this on in a somewhat gentle way, delicate way, so if the side door opens and clips it, it won't rip it to shreds. I'll think it through. We'll figure out a strategy, and then we'll test mount it, and then we'll open the door and we'll all hold our breath. Kyle had another one of his brilliant ideas. Let's just hold it by hand. What's more gentle than that? That way, if you know it catches, we can just pull it out of the way really quickly or something like that. So I might hold from the bottom, he might hold from the top. We're gonna disable the door and then like run it manually. And this will help us size it up and check it up real quick. And then, you know, if it seems to be good and we seem to be clearing, then we're gonna install it with some more permanent hardware and roll them dice. All right, calling good. It works, guys. Oh, whoa. I think I heard a noise. Wasn't that bad of a noise though. Well, was it our, oh, is our snake thing hitting the body kit? Yeah, we knew that was gonna happen, damn it. Anyways, we just gotta deal with that cable. Kyle's already at work solving the problem. So we made enough room. Gosh, we really should have more light. We made enough room, you can see it's right there. That thing runs through there, and that's like a little wire bundle for the whole door itself. And as we get right to here, that's what makes the noise, because it can't pinch hard enough. So we're gonna figure out a solution for this, some sort of an elegant solution, so it doesn't keep hitting our body kit every time the door opens. This was Kyle's idea. It's a great idea, and it's a new day. So to do this, what we just did, 2 things. If you're wondering what they use on OEMs to like wrap your wires and look good, it's called friction tape. A lot of people use electrical tape, and it's a little jank, and the stuff, you know, gets brittle and breaks. Friction tape. So order some of that overnight. And Kyle had the idea of ordering one of these, which is one of those retractable keychain dealies. You cannot demonstrate one-handed. So I'll demonstrate it on the car. So Kyle did the friction tape on the wiring loom, and it's nice, it's still flexible, it looks like OEM, so that's really good. And then we just put the keychain thing up there, and it goes up and down like this, and it hangs onto our thing. So as we go back, boom, boom, and then it can kind of slide, and boom, that's where the door wants to max out naturally. And it's a little crowded, but it's like not in any harm of our body kit and our paint job. And then as you go forward, it holds it up so it doesn't fall into the crack of the door. And then, well, I can't shut the door any further, but you can see how it's gonna go down nicely into the door. So that's the idea. It is a few more moving pieces than I would like, but considering without that wiring loom being well managed, you don't have door locks or door opening or automatic doors, or it had to happen. There aren't gonna be people in the backs of these vans. Those seats going to be gone. So the fact that those are a little, I would say, aesthetically different, doesn't matter. We made it work. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and finish up the wide body kit in the rear. So I'm gonna trace my line where the inside of the body kit is. I'm gonna pop the body kit off. I'm going to cut the high point so we can lower the vehicle down, and that tire will have room on the outside there. And then once I see what the outer and the inner skin looks like, I'll chat with you guys about how I'm gonna fasten the outer and the inner skin and seal that up to be watertight. While I'm doing that, Kyle and I got this door off, and he's gonna rock and roll on the door treatment. Okay, I've cut up into this thing enough that I've found my way around and I could show you what's going on. First off, very surprised, giant drum brake, really giant. If we weren't running wheel spaces on this thing, I think our wheels would hit that. That would be a total pain. Weird that in a very modern car, they decided to run a drum brake like that, especially one with, it's so expensive. And I can tell you from, I've driven one of these now quite a bit, and the brakes suck on these. So I don't know why they did that. I think it's a bad choice. Anywho, so I first went after the wheel liner and got that about halfway out, and then I saw some high voltage electrical behind that, and I thought, I don't want to take this all the way out. So I just trimmed the part that would come down and get low on the wheel. I just trimmed that out because this is a cloth one. Even with a good razor blade, you can trim the plastic ones too. So don't forget that you don't have to take everything out if it's not going to get in the way, and it could be doing something good. In this case, it was. So I left it, trimmed out the bad stuff, then I went for the metal. In this case, the inner skin and the outer skin are super close together. There's a 1/4 inch gap in between the two. I could have just cut through them both with a cutoff wheel, but I want to get some sort of a reciprocating saw blade in there and get a little bit low, so I have a little extra material on the inner, and then I'm gonna bend the inner up to try and meet with the outer, and then I'm gonna seal it all up with fiberglass reinforced body filler. There's a ton of different methods to seal up your wide body kit. I just suggest that you do seal it up. And fiberglass reinforced body filler is one we haven't done in a while, but it works really, really good, and it works especially well when you don't have a very large gap like this. Like if you have a 1/4 inch gap, it's the type of stuff that's actually meant to fill in 1/4 inch voids. So it's a good candidate. You just want to make sure you do your prep work well and follow the instructions on the can, and it's really that simple. You'll get a good, strong waterproof seal all the way around your opening that you just made. Alrighty, this side is done and fiberglassed up. It's dark over here. Let's go check out the other side. We can see much better over here. So I decided to weld it because the gap got really small. So I just was able to tap the pieces up with a hammer, put a bunch of tack welds in there to hold the metal, and then we're doing like basically waterproofing and reinforcement. You can see with the fiberglass running along there. So Kyle's gonna bust that out, and we are gonna move over into the front section of the wide body. The other challenging part about the front is that this door piece right here, so we've been following and putting our body kit right on this body line, just overlapping just a little bit on this body line so the body kind of flows out. By the way, brand new German car. Look at the amount of orange peel on that paint job. I don't know if you guys can see that when we look at that reflection. I mean, gosh, that's a lot of orange peel. But that is how the German painters, robots do it. Anyways, watch down there. That body line, I open the door and we're in trouble. Right there, we're in a lot of trouble, So we're gonna have to have the body kit dive down a little bit. Or worst case scenario, we'll have to notch the body kit. But I'm hoping I could just have it dive down a little bit early there and come through. It's nice because these clinch fender flares, they are a little bit flexible, so you can kind of maneuver them where they need to go. Hey everybody, it's after the weekend and I'm back. So last clip, we're working on the fender flares. Kyle and I got fender flare on this side and on the other side. And man, I'm so happy with how these are looking. Like the way that they're turning out on this vehicle, amazing. I went home and the next day, I unfortunately ended up in the ER. So yeah, between having cancer and then having the problem with the allergies causing the immune system to go all haywire, and then just barely getting over that, that's what that cough is the allergies still. And then this just made me feel like such an unlucky person, but you know what, I'm lucky because I'm still here and I'm still doing what I love. But anywho, I had a upper small intestine obstruction. So basically, a little bit above my belly button, right about here, either the intestine like constricted itself, which could be cancer related. I guess I'll give you that theoretical version. Scans showed that there are 2 lymph nodes near the intestine that are a little inflamed. They're not obviously tumorous, so it doesn't mean for sure it's cancer. It could be cancer. Those could cause the intestine to get mad and to constrict, and that could block everything. That would really suck. It would mean there's a lot of surgery in my future, relatively near future probably, and as anybody knows that has had to do surgeries in that area, it's just kind of the scar tissue can cause problems and blah blah blah. Let's just hope it's not that. With this whole journey that I've been on, so much of it is day at a time, day at a time, day at a time. Other option, I went home after installing those fender flares and absolutely went to town on some grocery store Chinese food. Barely a step above gas station Chinese food. And I will admit, sometimes I do not chew my food enough. And it is maybe possible that this was just a self-inflicted blockage, in the sense of I just swallowed whole pieces of garbage Chinese food that my stomach acids didn't break down, maybe because my stomach acids are, I don't know, I know my cancer medication messes with that stuff a little bit. It's possible it was like a self-inflicted blockage, and it's also possible it's something else. The doctors actually don't know for sure exactly what it was. I was in the ER for about 10 hours. We avoided surgery. It was kind of weird. We were getting ready to insert a tube in my nose, down my throat, and into my stomach. And miraculously, and I was in a lot of pain. I mean, the reason, you tend to go to the ER is I was in a ton of pain. And anyways, my body just fixed itself, and I was able to get out of there after about 12 hours or so, whatever. So I gave myself a day to recover, and I'm feeling good because I didn't need surgery and I didn't need to do anything crazy. I'm watching my diet, I'm doing what the doctor needs, but there's absolutely no reason I can't be back here. So here we are, and we shall continue. We've got the flares on, but we haven't done the cut. So I'm gonna do the mark, I'm gonna do the cut. I know that was a really weird, day-to-day transition. I feel it'd be crazy not to keep you guys up to date so you know what the hell's going on with me. If there's anything that I've learned from all of this journey of cancer and being kind of beaten down a little bit through some of the lows, it does make the highs feel better. And this life is about enjoyment, so do what makes you happy. And what makes me happy right now is doing this. I think this is gonna look amazing when we get done by the end of today. I'm not just saying that to say, oh, it's gonna be a good video. Like, you guys, I've made hundreds of videos. I think you guys know at this point. I do this because I'm passionate about it, and I wanted to get back to this. So there's cool stuff yet to be done. And there's so much room for creativity in these next few steps between side skirts, front lip, rear diffuser. And I'm just so excited to see how it's all gonna look, and it's all gonna come together today. So yeah, I'm stoked to do it. I'm gonna get to cutting so I can move on to the next step. Excuse me. You guys can see it's starting to look cool. We obviously need the right size spacers and the right size wheels, but it's starting to shape up. So I think we're gonna go ahead and talk about side skirts first. When you're building some custom side skirts like we have to, there are no side skirts that exist for this vehicle. So you're gonna, what the? We don't follow that streamer, for the record. So you're gonna have to come up with a design and build something yourself. 3D scanning, 3D printing in a multi-piece, and then wrapping that in fiberglass has been shown to be an okay solution. But since this vehicle doesn't really have a lot of body motion and movement right here, I figured we'd do something to keep it kind of simple. Also, with the back, actually with the whole distance, we can't do anything that goes up. It all just has to go down. Because if you do anything that goes up, the second the sliding door comes out, smashes into our side skirt. So we can only basically go down. I would say one of the more interesting things about working on this van is the side skirt that it actually has some good like movement to it. Our body lines are matching up well. It kind of goes out flat here and then comes out to a peak here and then goes through and then does the same type of thing in the back. So the side skirt is cool, but with it being this gray color and at the bottom of the vehicle, it gets muted out and you really don't even see it when you look at the vehicle from far back. I think that's a really big problem with these vehicles actually, and that just almost the side skirt just disappears. So by putting something underneath it, and then when we go to paint it, because it's going to be paint matched with the vehicle and the purple blue Lenovo theme, this is going to pop out much more, and you're going to be able to see, it's also going to get a gloss coat on it, so you're going to see the angles on it better, and you're going to see it catch light better. So that's going to become our attention grabbing piece, and then these other two pieces that we're going to do are more going to be like supporting pieces to make the vehicle look lower. I mean, that's the idea of a side skirt. This is a purely aesthetic thing. Look lower and wider to come out to the body kit. So we're going to use the PVC wood flooring or PVC trim piece, cut that to length and get that under there. And then I haven't decided if we're going to do a 2-inch piece like this where it kicks out at the bottom, or maybe like this is like 1 1/4, 1 1/2. I don't, since it is metal, I don't want to risk having the client bottom out the van. Since this is a huge middle section, if the client bottoms out the van and dents it, it's a very hard thing to fix. We've found some things lying around that didn't get used on other builds. I'm kind of liking the way that these look. We could do a little bit cleaner integration, but it brings the car, it brings everything out, and they'd be painted to match. Obviously, the white and the black, they'd be the exact same color, so it'd kind of flow into each other. And then that doesn't block the side door. I think that really helps us kind of flow into the body kit. And we could still do the down section if we want. We can go both ways if we feel the need to once we see it on the ground. But I do think that it's hard to see those gloss black things. They really disappear very quickly, which is something that we'll have to look at for the build itself. I think we'll have to put manga lines on them to really stand out. But I do think that this is a good way to make it all connect. It's not easy building a 90, I think these are 96-inch long side skirts, so it's like it's a clean 10+ inches longer than you would for like a long car, like a Dodge Charger or something like that. And we just gotta kind of come up with things, make things look good based on our knowledge of what we've built in the past, and what we can kind of use from other cars, other builds, other things, other inspiration to work on the van. But I think this is a win. This is good. That looks cool. The idea is usually you just want to connect to the wide body kit to bring the wideness out on the bottom, and then the height differential on the top, kind of where it has to stop down to the side skirt, which would be that section right there. You make all those things kind of flow and you'll have a good enough look. The, I guess, faster, cheaper way to do this is what we used to do way back in the day. Just take a nice piece of like 16th inch aluminum and put some good bends in it, and then do that. But with having this kind of rigid piece that we have for our white piece, I don't want to just have it all look blocky. So these, with the flowing lines, these are going to look a lot better. Now the problem is I got to order a set for the other side of this van, and then a set for the other side of the other van, and a set for the other side of the other van. Alrighty, side skirt's on. We did one of the little up-de-doos because one on each side is better than one and then the same one on the other side, and then the other side being from a different brand and then being mismatched. So we're gonna have the fronts be matching and the backs be from the different brand. So that's why we did that. Now, we did move the van. Our wheel dollies are not rated for this weight, so we broke them, just like the boat. This one's broken and that one's broken, and my tummy hurts because I'm not supposed to be pulling on 6,000 pound vans as hard as I can. So we got it rotated to here. I apologize, it's a terrible angle. This is just new shop moving pains is what we're going through, and we'll do better in the future, I promise. These vans are just giant. So we're gonna be working on the front lip. So we're wider, that's awesome. We have a front lip and a diffuser, rear diffuser, and the side skirts makes the whole package for the ground effects. So for the front lip, what I did was I ordered some stuff that belongs on a Toyota Camry, and we're gonna try and make it look like it belongs on a Volkswagen ID Buzz. Say a little prayer. Hi guys, so not too bad of news on the Camry front lip body kit modification, or whatever the heck we are doing. So let me sit back a little bit. I love the way the middle piece looks as far as like front lip and how it sits and everything. It's sitting right in here on this channel. We just got lucky. It just kind of fits right in this channel. So I think the plan is we're gonna panel bond into that channel, and then it's got bolting points on the bottom. So it'll be bolted in down there. And that gives us a nice little, that's probably about a 3-inch like stick out. And then as we come over here, we started modifying because this is where it gets a little more tricky. But that's okay. Like this really well accentuates the vent that we're going into, and it's doing a lot of great stuff. But you can see we have, you know, a big hole right here. So there's the idea is this is gonna get bolted in right here. Supports are gonna come off the bottom. It's a little pointing down right there, yeah. So this will get bolted in. An end piece is going to come up and kind of fill this out. We also have the backing for this. I can clean up this. So the question is, how are we going to fill this in and make it not look weird? And the answer is I'm going to plastic weld this piece together, but I want to use the same plastic that came off the piece. So I'm actually going to cut out from the bottom this extra material that doesn't need to be here. Gonna bring it into the top, cut a perfect template to see. We're gonna cut off this raised bit here and cut a perfect template where it'll connect to the body, and then bring that in and plastic weld it into here and do any body filling that I need to make this transition, because this is kind of, well, it's actually pointing pretty damn good. So any body fill transition that needs to be done will be done right there, and then it'll get panel bonded onto the front. So everywhere in this channel right here is gonna be panel bonded, bolts on the sides, bolts on the bottom, and then we'll clean up this section. I really wanted to get the front lip and the rear diffuser on, but that's a little bit more work than we have any chance of pulling off tonight, and this is our deadline for this episode, and kind of blew it because kind of went to the hospital. So in the next episode, I'll show you the whole picture: front lip, rear diffuser, side skirts. Those other little pieces for the side skirts will probably be in. We can start shaping up the whole picture. I think by the end of the next episode, our base coat of purple has to be on at least one of the vans. We're gonna be painting by the end of the next episode, which is pretty incredible. So things are gonna be moving very, very fast. We have to get these painted as soon as we can so that as the paint dries, we have time to do paint correction and things like that, and give the time for the paint to dry before the show so they don't smell like freshly painted vans at the show. At least that's the goal. So I hope you guys are stoked on this new project, dual vanning. It's gonna be a really fun one. We get to be really creative here, and this is probably gonna be our most like forward people facing, most public builds that we've ever done, given how many places these vans are going to travel to. So it's a really, really cool opportunity, and I hope you guys are stoked to see us send this one through. I feel like there's a lot on the line now. It's the 11th. We've got 19 days, but we have side doors that open over a body kit, and that is that's extremely, you know what, the doors aren't powered, but anyways, it's extremely unique and extremely figured out. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you all so much for the support. I'll see you on the next one. Peace! Come on.